Today, I have invited an outstanding woman, a dear friend, very, very special, Farah Shammas. She's not only a businesswoman, but she's a big campaigner for health, for happiness, for friendship, for good life. And today, she is going to teach us what it takes to be happy in 2024, something that maybe we have put it in the vision board. But hey, we are going to keep each other accountable today. So before I give Farah a mic to run a masterclass and guide us how to live happy and healthy and harmonious, I have a few questions for you, my dear Farah. Welcome back to Global Woman Club. You host Global Woman Club in your empire, San Rafael Hotel, every month, thanks to our Queen Elizabeth that has started this movement of empowering women in Cyprus. Now we keep doing it every month there. So tell us a little bit more. How is starting the new year? And tell us a little bit more about your story, and let's move straight to the point, to the happiness.
Well, first of all, everyone, Happy New Year. So we definitely have to start with that. It is a Happy New Year, and have a good feeling about this year. I think we've had so many difficult years, a lot of hurdles, a lot of unprecedented times, but it's made us all stronger. And I think we're at the point where, I mean, knock on wood here, but we've seen, I won't say we've seen it all, but we've seen a lot. So at this point, definitely for me and in my industry, which is hospitality, that has been so hit. I'm just like, bring it on, you know, whatever. I'm so calm. I've hit a Zen moment. And I think the more challenges that life throws us, you know, we're women, we just gulp it up and prove to the world that we can do it. And it's exciting. So so on to happiness. Happiness is something that we are all innately searching for. And I think a lot of people feel lacking in this department. I think there's a lot of pressure in the modern world, both to men and women. But I think women feel it more because we've just got more responsibility. We put more pressure on ourselves.
Is that a drive that you felt? Because honestly, I feel like I want to recognize you for everything you do. You don't need to do what you do, but you opening the doors for women members and special guests and any woman who want to reach the highest potential, who wants to learn more, to get to know other like-minded women and to serve and support. And you have opened the doors of San Rafael, but also the doors of your heart. So what drives you? Because I see it comes from the most amazing, genuine feeling, and not only because you are a woman, but because I see how you have built everything around you. So what drives you?
It's a very good question. I'm not innately a competitive person, so I'm not a jealous person, and I'm not jealous at all. And I don't like the word arrogant because it has connotations with a lot of negativity, obviously. But in the way that you should feel proud of yourself, and I always tell people they should know their name and feel secure of who they are. So that's personally, I don't feel competitive or jealous with other people. I feel either extremely proud for other people, and sometimes I
and Farah, is it something that you always had, or you learned how to manage your feelings and how to manage your emotions and how to communicate?
So it's a little bit of both. I think happiness is a learned trait. I think we are born definitely predisposed to feeling happier or not. Definitely mental illnesses. There's so many things that can affect us. whether the glass is half full, half empty. We maybe have a predisposition within us to see it, but that doesn't mean that we're stuck with that. It doesn't mean that we have a more melancholic or introverted predisposition and then we're set for a life of loneliness or sadness or depression. We can learn to be happy. And I think the more science is proving that, there's so many studies that come up now about neurobrain pathways, really showing that we can train our minds, train our brain. And, you know, the proof is in the pudding. People are there. And I think with anyone, if there's always two versions of the same story. So the same story can be written in quite a dramatic and sad way and have a sad ending, or it can be completely turned around and everything can be turned into a positive and a reason. And we're in charge of that. No one else is. So we're in charge of our own feelings, our own happiness, and our own reactions. We're not in charge of anyone else's.
And Farah, do you remember yourself from the past on your journey of self-development? Has it always been like this? Or do you remember yourself in the past that you haven't been happy?
Well, I had many, many years of being very, very sad. I won't say unhappy because I think I am intuitively a happy person. My name actually means happiness. And I'm sure that also makes a difference. I remember my aunt telling me, be aware of what you call your children. It is important. They carry that name forever. And I say this in my club and to my community. I wrote a blog on this actually. Whatever your name is, even if it has quite maybe a more dramatic or, I don't know, some Greek tragedy connected with it, you can turn that into something positive for you. Individualistically, make that about you and be proud of your name. And I think that I had many reasons. So, you know, my story could be, you know, a privileged girl, grew up in a privileged background, in beautiful surroundings, living the life. And what else, you know, why would she ever have felt anything else? But my real story is very different. And I have cried rivers. I mean, I've cried more tears than I think I'd like to admit to most people. And I've been just fundamentally so sad at periods of my life. But I never let that become my life. So it was periods of my life for a long time, but I knew that I would pull through. And I knew that for every low, there's a high. And so for however long I felt down, I knew that I was going to, a bigger power was out there and I deserved one massive high. And I just waited for that. And it's one of my favorite sayings, actually, happiness waits for you. And it really does. And it really does. So you just believe it. And you get through, and you've got to be kind first and foremost to yourself, and you know, not allow that hollowness, that sadness to envelop you. It might envelop a stage of your life, but that's for a reason. You ingest it, and you keep on, and you just keep on reminding yourselves of everything that you know is there to be positive. All those affirmations, all those. And I think there's so much that has been written and it's come out, especially in the last decade with all the coaching. It's been amazing and so much literature. But for me personally, whenever I've read a lot of this, I'm like, oh my goodness, I was doing that when I was 8. You know, that's how I survived when I was 13. I did that when I was 17. And so I think innately I was already really searching for other pathways that would create a road of happiness and that would, you know, change my life into a more positive one.
Well, thank you so much for sharing this, Farah, because you're right. Sometimes we create this kind of assumption that if you come from a very privileged background and all, this luxury life, and we just assume that your life has been all great.
Yeah.
And yeah, what you just shared, it proves that yes, they are both sides of the story. You reminded me also, I was having a conversation with a woman this morning. She was feeling a little bit down. Well, I never met her before. We just have a call conversation. And she started telling me a story and another story and said. And I said, darling, I'm not surprised. I'm sorry, but that's not surprising. I mean, I hear this all day long. I have met thousands of women around the world. This is just a story. So what you're trying to tell me, come on, don't create dramas. If you tell me you had a wonderful life, I would be shocked. So every woman has a story. Every
Yeah.
woman has a journey. Every woman has a drama. We all have pains. Just move on. Just get yourself above it. It's not, for me, it's not a news. A news is if a woman comes to me and says, I never had tears in my life. I never had pain in my life. I had a wonderful life. That would be a big case study.
Yeah.
We all have been there,
And
but
also
we
not
need
to
to
get
learn
competitive with
from
it.
from women like you. So the sooner we learn that happiness, the better. Now, what are some factors that guide us to happiness? Definitely, I know you have found your purpose, like food, mission, woman, children, gratitude, health. So tell us your little magic. How do you combine all these elements together to have to create your world, your happy world? So what is your magic to create the happiness in your world?
I think the number one thing is kindness. And I really do believe that. I think the number one thing is kindness. You've got to start with kindness, obviously with love, but almost deeper than love, it's kindness. And you start with kindness to yourself. You have to be forgiving to yourself, really love yourself, and then be kind every day, every opportunity to everyone and everything you can. That's why my road ultimately led me to veganism, just to be kind to every living thing. But the kinder you are, the more you feel a sense of peace, the more you are comfortable in your own skin and with yourself and forgiving for yourself, because none of us are perfect. And, we can all sit there and complain that our eyes aren't big enough, or, our nose isn't perfect, or our cellulite is becoming too unbearable, or whatever it is. But then we can say, well, no, I'm okay. I've got two legs. And look at things positively and forgive yourself for doing something wrong, or saying the wrong thing, or whatever it is. That's just you. And then you're more forgiving to other people, because I think what also creates a lot of unhappiness is disappointment. And when we feel disappointed in ourselves, when we feel disappointed in our family, in our neighbors, in our closest, and that disappointment can really eat up someone. The should have, would have, could have. But the world isn't perfect. Our friends aren't perfect. Our family's not. We're not. And just to know that being yourself and doing your best is enough, then you will be so much happier. So that's the core of it, I think.
Wow, thank you so much. Absolutely. I agree with you, because many people, as you say, they expect that the world to change, things to change, the external to change. But hey, you get in, how say, you get out what you put in. So whatever you put in, you get it out there in the world. And yes, if you're kind to yourself and you're kind to other people, the world is going to be kind with you. That's a big takeaway. So thank you so much, Farah. I really appreciate your share and your wisdom and your knowledge. Thank you for serving not only us, Global Women, at your beautiful empire in Cyprus. I miss it. I can't wait to come this year. But for everything you do, we see you full of energy. And people ask me many times, but I want to know your answer. Many times, Mirela, where do you get this energy? Where do you get this energy? So I have my own theory. So where Farah does get this energy nonstop, 24/7, we see you on fire. Mother of three, leading a big, massive business, being a great friend, a great wife, a great woman, full of energy nonstop. Where does it come from?
Well, I'm a great wife sometimes. No, I'm joking. I'm joking.
Well, well,
Humor, my
as
dear.
far as your husband is happy,
Yeah, no, I'm joking. So, where do I get my energy from? A lot of people do ask that. The core answer is just love what you do. It's never a chore, never a chore. I never wake up and say, "Oh, I've got to face today." I love absolutely everything about my crazy life and schedule. I love my job. I love being in tourism. I love my hotel. I mean, I get to sell happiness. Like, who wouldn't love that? And many people don't, but for me, I'm like, this is amazing. And I get to create jobs and I get to see people develop and grow. And I get to give back to so many different communities and people. And then I get to learn about healthy living and more about plant-based living and coach some people on the side because I it's not for the money. I love helping people and supporting people to be the best version of themselves. And I love bringing up three absolutely inspirational young souls. I just think children are incredible, they're inspiring, and they're the future. And we've got more to learn from them than they have from us. And I just love being their mother. And I have some fantastic friends, not because they're all geniuses or world-class leaders, but because I learn from people every day. And I learn from the ones that aren't the clever ones. You can learn from everyone and just always remain humble and know that, we've got to keep growing. And every day I want to grow. And that's exciting. And I just love that. I have my podcast, I interview people, I learn from them. And even on like moments where you're like, oh, what was the point of that? And then you're like, no, there was a reason. And you just keep happy and move on. And it's fantastic. So I think that's the biggest secret is loving what you do. And I actually told my 10-year-old this yesterday because she said, oh, I wouldn't like to do what you do, mummy. And I said, but you don't have to, you're different. And I said, but whatever you decide to do, you might not want to do it after 10 years or 20 years. And that's also okay. And then she said, but then I'd have to go back and study. And I'm like, that's what would be amazing is you'd get to go and do something else and recreate yourself. We're not static individuals. We grow and we change. And that's makes life so interesting. I mean, how boring would it be if I was the same person I was 20 years ago? It's just amazing to keep on and meeting new people. And so that's what gives me energy.
what a great piece of advice. And I can absolutely see where is it coming from. So thank you so much, Farah.